In this video, I'll be going through the Music Theory Grade 5 2020 sample paper from ABRSM. Okay, so let's take a look at the section 1 on rhythm. So for question 1.1, it consists of 3 parts, A, B, and C. Okay, and you're asked to circle the correct time signature for each of these bars. Okay, so let's take a look at A. This is grouped in 3 quiver beats by 3 quiver beats. So very likely I'll count this in quiver beats instead of crotchet beats. All right. Okay, so let's look at this. This is 2 quavers. This is the third quiver. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quiver beat, 5 quiver beat, 6 quiver beat, 7 quiver beat, 8 quiver beat, and 9 quiver beats. So therefore, if you have 9 quiver beats in a bar, therefore it will be a 9/8 time. Okay. Next, let's move on to B. So in B, if I take a look at this, it seems to me that they are grouped crotchet beats by crotchet beats, right? Because I see this crotchet by itself, then this itself is a crotchet beat, and so on. So therefore, I'll count by crotchet beats. So this is 1 crotchet beat. This is another crotchet beat. Okay, another crotchet beat and another crotchet beat. So total there are 4 crotchet beats in the bar. So therefore this is 4/4 time. Next, let's take a look at this. So if I take a look at this, this is 1 quaver, 2 quaver, 3 quaver. So this one is very likely it is grouped by quaver beat. So I'll count in terms of quaver beats. So 1 quaver beat, 2 quaver beats, 3 quaver beats, 4 quaver beats, 5 quaver beats. Okay, and when you have a triplet with 3 quavers is equals to a crotchet, and a crotchet is equals to 2 quaver beats. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quaver beats in a bar. So it is 7/8 time. All right. So this is how you do question 1.1. Next, let's move on to 1.2. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so you are given a bar in compound time, which is 12/8 time, and you are asked to change it to simple time. Okay, so for this question, right, all the simple time signature are the same, so you don't need to check. But if you have some time signatures that are different, right, how do you change compound time to simple time signature? Well, you take the number on top divided by 3. And the number at the bottom you divide by 2, and you will change compound time to simple time. So therefore, 12/8 in compound time is equals to 4/4 in simple time, and 4/4 is common time, which you can also write it in this symbol. Okay, so all of them have the same time signature, so actually you don't really need to check. But for some of the exam papers or the sample papers that you have tried, you notice that they have different time signatures. So in other words, right, it's possible that during the exams, your actual exams, you might see different time signatures, so you need to check. Okay, so use this formula to change from compound time to simple time. Just divide the number on top by 3 and the number below by 2. Okay, so now we have know that we can't eliminate any of them because they all have the correct time signature. So now let's look at the notes. So in order to change compound time to simple time, we will look for 1. So we have a dotted crotchet, it will become a crotchet, right? So this 2 notes add up to be equals to a dotted crotchet. So how do we change it to a crotchet beat? Well, we'll put a triplet. Okay, so you notice all of them, all the 3 options have a triplet, so they are correct, so nothing to eliminate. Similarly, these 3 quavers add up to be a dotted crotchet. So to change it to a crotchet beat, we'll put a triplet. So these 2 are correct, this is wrong, so we can eliminate this already. Same thing, this 2 notes add up to be equals to a dotted crotchet. So to change a dotted crotchet to a crotchet beat, we put a triplet. So these 2 are correct. Okay, next, I have a dotted crotchet rest. So dotted crotchet rest, you will change it to a crotchet rest. Okay, when you change from compound time to simple time. So 2 is the answer. Next, let's look at 1.3. So you need to complete the following 2 sentences by adding a number to each. So in 6/16, there are how many dotted quaver beats in a bar? So 6/16, when the number at the bottom is 16, it tells you that we are going to count in semi-quaver beats. the number on top tells us how many of these beats there are. So in other words, 6/16 tell us that there are 6 semi-quaver beats per bar, right? 6 semi-quaver beats per bar. Okay, but they are asking for dotted quavers, right? So 1 dotted quaver is equals to 3 semi-quavers. So this is equals to a dotted quaver. This 3 semi-quavers is equals to a dotted quaver. So in other words, in 6/16, there are 2 dotted quaver beats in a bar. Next, let's look at B. So a brief is this. So, and we know that a brief is equals to 8 crotchet beats. So the answer here is 8. All right. All right. So now let's move on. Okay. So next, you're asked to show which bar is grouped correctly. Okay. So we have 9 4 time. Okay. So when you have 9 4 time, so when you have the 6 9 12. Okay, you will group them 3 beats by 3 beats, right? And because the bottom number is 4, you will group 3 crochet beats by 3 crochet beats. Okay, so now let's take a look at them. So I have 1, 2, 3. So this all are the same, all right? So the first 3 crochet beats, they are all written similarly for all 3 options. So nothing much to check. Then next, 4. The 4th beat, okay? So this is the 4th beat, right? They should all be grouped together, okay? Because you either group them 3 crochets by 3 crochets, okay? Or you group them crochet by crochet. So for the 4 semi-quavers, right, they all form beat 4, okay? Or the 4th crochet beat of the 9 4 time. So they should all be grouped together. So for this, where it's splitted, it is wrong. So we can eliminate this now. So this is beat 4. This is beat 5. Okay, this is beat 6. Okay, but for this, you group beat 6, 7, 8, and 9 together. Okay, but for this one, you group beat 6, you separate it from beat 7, 8, and 9. Okay, recall for 9 4 time, when you have the number on top being 6, 9, or 12, you group them 3 beats by 3 beats, right? So for this case, right, this is wrong. Okay, because you should group. If there is anything that you can group, you should group beat 4 to beat 6 together. 7 to 9 beat should be grouped separately. So this is correct, okay, because they separate the beat 6 from the beat 7 to 9, okay, by using this tie note here. So the correct answer here would be this one here. Okay. Section 1.5, which is the last question on the rhythm section of your grade 5 exam, APRSM exam. So in this question, right, you are asked to tick across each box to show whether the rest are correct or incorrect. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. So for this question, right, there are 2 things to check. Firstly, you need to check whether the rest is correct so that it forms, so that the note value of, or the time value of the rest will be such that it satisfies this time signature, right? And the second thing you need to check is the grouping. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So let's look at this. This is 3 4 times. So in 3 4 time, we group things beat by beat, right? Beat by beat. Okay, and because it's 3 4 times, 4 means crochet, so we group them crochet beats by crochet beats, crochet beat by crochet beat. So this is the first crochet beat. Okay. Then if you to look at the second one, okay, notice that this forms the second crochet beat. Then this is the third crochet beat. So this is all right, okay? So this is okay. So we will put a tick here. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. This is the first crochet beat, okay, and this is the second crochet beat. This is the third crochet beat. So in other words, here should be a crochet beat as well. Okay, but in order to add up to a crochet beat, you need 1.5 crochet beats inside. So instead of having a semi-quiver rest, you should actually have a quiver rest. So this is wrong, okay? So this is a wrong answer. Next, let's take a look at the last one. So this is the first crochet bead, this is the second crochet bead, and these form the third crochet bead. So this is correct. Now we move on to the second section of your grade 5 ABRS and music theory exam. So in question 2.1, you are given a note in tenor clef and you're asked to show the name of the note. So to do so, right, we can remember this, that this is your middle C. So let's count downwards. C, then because we are going down, right, so we count backwards. So it's C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So the answer is A. So this note here is A. All right. Next, tick one box to show the correct enharmonic equivalent of this note. So this note is E, right? Okay, so this is E. So let me draw out my piano very quickly. This is E. Okay, then this is D sharp. So D sharp is here, so it's not the same. Now this is F, and I have F flat. So they are the same. So F flat is equivalent to E. Okay, F is not. Next, let's take a look at question 2.3. So question 2.3 is a transposition question. So you're given a bar written for clarinet in A. So for this type of transposition question, they always tell you what to transpose. Okay, so this bar has been transposed down a minor third. So in other words, you see the word down and a minor third, right? So go down by a minor third. Okay, then you need to, there are some mistakes, put a tick or cross underneath the key signature and each note to show whether each is correct or incorrect. Okay, so let's start off by the key signature. So this one has F sharp and C sharp. So we just look at major key, right? So it will be D major. Okay. Next, I need to transpose it down a minor third. So I will transpose it down a third first. So D, C, B. So I need it to be B, right? Okay. So I need it to be B. Okay. Then next, is it B major or B minor? So it's definitely major. Okay. Because if here is major, here will be major during transposition. You will not change from major to minor. Okay, but then you will be wondering, is it B, B flat or B sharp? Okay, so there are two ways of looking at this. You can go by the semitones. So for a minor third, right, it is it will be 3 semitones. Okay, so in other words, you need to have 3 semitones between the notes in order to form a minor third interval. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. I have B and I have D. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 3 semitones. So yes, B to D is 3 semitones. Next, B major. B major, does it form this key signature? No. You have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp for B major. So in other words, this is wrong. Okay. Now, next, let's take a look at these notes here. So for these notes, right, what I would do is to check that they are first transposed down a third. If they are not a third, I just put a cross already. Okay, then if they are a third, then I check whether they are 3 semitones apart. Okay, so let's do it this way. So B and D. Okay, no sharps, no flats. Okay, so B to D, we already know that from B to D is 3 semitones apart. So I will put a tick. B flat to G, yes, is a third. A to F is a third. E to C is also a third. So I need to check semitones for all of these. So G to B flat. So this is G. This is B flat. So let's check, is there 3 semitones? 1, 2, 3. Yes, so this is correct. F to A. So this is F. This is A. Okay. So let's check, is there 3 semitones? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, so it is not correct. It's not a minor third anymore. Next, I have C sharp. Okay, this is C sharp because of the key signature. So this is C sharp, and this is E. Okay, so I have C sharp to E. Let me check whether there are 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. So yes, it is correct. So this will be your answer for question 2.3. Next, let's move on to look at question 2.4. So in question 2.4, what do you need to do? Well, you need to write true and false for these compare bars A, B, and C, and then circle true and false for each of the statement. So for this type of questions, right, what I'll do is I'll suggest using a middle C as a reference, and then just look at one of the notes first. Okay, and we usually call middle C C4, okay, on the piano, okay, because it's the 4th C from the left of your 88 key piano. Alright, so coming back to this is middle C, so this is C4. 1 octave higher is this C, which is C5. So I know that A is between C4 and C5. So here is A. Okay, next, this is middle C, which is C4, and this is 1 octave lower, which is C3. So this E flat here is in between C3 and C4. So B is in between C3 and C4. It is here. Next, for C, this is my middle C, right, for autoclave. So I know that this is slightly above middle C. Okay, so in other words, C, the bar C is in between C4 and C5. Okay, so once you have written this out, right, it's quite easy to see. You know that A and C are at the same pitch, and B is 1 octave lower than A and C. So A and B are at the same pitch. False, it is A and C. B is 1 octave lower than C. True. C is 1 octave higher than A. No, they are at the same pitch. So it is false. Okay? Next, let's look at the keys and scales. So for this one, right, I'll just recommend just memorizing the key signatures for 6 sharps and 6 flats in all 4 clefs. Okay, that will be easy. Okay, so if you're to take a look at this, pick one to show the correctly written key signature of B major. So for B major, you have 5 sharps, right? They are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. Okay, so this is B major. You have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. So let's take a look at this. So this one is F sharp, this one is C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. This one is wrong. The A sharp should be lower. Okay, you must remember where they are located as well. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, F sharp, C sharp. This is not C sharp, so this is out. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. This should be A sharp, not B sharp, so this is out. So very likely this is correct. So let's check. F sharp, yes. C sharp, this one is G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. So this is correct. So this is the correct answer. Okay. Next, let's take a look at 3.2. So you are asked which one is the correctly written key signature of E flat minor. So E flat minor has the same key signature as G flat major. Okay, and they both have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. Okay, so these are the 6 flats of E flat minor as well as G flat major. Okay, so let's look at this. B, E flat, A flat, D flat. No, this is not D flat, so this is out. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat. Correct. Okay, let's take a look at this. G, C, B, A, G. This one is out already because the first flat should be B, it is G. This one, the first flat is E when it should be B, so it's out. So the answer is the bass clef one. Next, let's take a look at question 3.3 of keys and scales. So in this question, right, or in this section, you are given a melody and you're asked which key it belongs to. Okay, so you're asked to circle the correct key of each of the 3 melody. So let's take a look at this. There is F sharp here. That's all right. So for which key has F sharp? So it will be G major and E minor. There's no E minor here, so very easy. It's just G major. All right. Next, let's take a look at the next example. So I have this, I have A sharp. This one is F sharp, C sharp. So I have C sharp, F sharp. You know that if you have F sharp, C sharp, you have G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. Okay. But if you take a look at this, you don't have D sharp. Okay. No D sharp. You just F sharp and C sharp, then it jumps straight to A sharp. So it is suggesting to us that very likely A sharp is the seventh note or the sixth note. Okay, where we sharpen it to form the harmonic scale. So if you sharpen the seventh note, that means we are forming the harmonic scale. If you sharpen the sixth and seventh, we are forming the melodic scale when when it's ascending. So we can think of A sharp as probably the seventh note. Okay, so let's think of it as the key signature is F sharp and C sharp. So for F sharp and C sharp, right, it will be D major and B minor. Okay. So we know that because I have F sharp and C sharp, very likely it is either D major or B minor. But because I have an additional accidental A sharp, so if you count B, C, D, E, F, G, A is the seventh note of B minor. So that's why they sharpen it. So therefore, this key here is B minor. Okay, next, let's move on to C. So in C, I have G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, C sharp. So if you look at it, it's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, okay, which is E major. Okay, then you might be saying, oh, could it be the minor key? So if it is E major, the other minor is C minor, right? Sorry, C sharp minor. And C sharp minor, the seventh note is B. Okay, you will have sharpened B. But the B here, no sharp. So it is not C sharp minor. Anyway, there's also no C sharp minor as an option. Okay, so the answer is just E major. Okay, next, let's take a look at your B flat harmonic minor. Okay, and this is descending. So for harmonic, you will sharpen the seventh note. So in other words, the A note must be sharpened, right? Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at B flat minor first. Okay, so so B flat minor has the same key signature as D flat major. So what are the key signatures? You have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, right? Okay, so in other words, right, the seventh note, which is A, okay, because it was initially a flat, so now it should be A natural. Okay. Okay, so this is descending, right? So this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So this is the sixth note, and this is the seventh note, and you go back to B flat here. So go B flat, then should be A, and because it is harmonic, so here is A natural, then G, right? And based on the key signature, that is G flat. So in other words, X is A natural, okay, and Y is basically G flat. Okay, so that's the answer for 3.4. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. So you need to circle one clef to form minor keys, okay? Minor scales. So let's take a look at this one, okay? You have one flat and one sharp, okay? So very likely, right, just one look at it, right? Very likely it is harmonic scale, where you sharpen this note here, the seventh note, okay? Then the sixth note, right? If you want to sharpen something, it either becomes a natural or it becomes a sharp or a double sharp, right? It will not be a flat. So definitely, because this sixth note here has a flat, it is definitely not a it is definitely not melodic. Okay, so it's harmonic. So from here, I know that initially this note here would be a natural, and this note here will have a flat, just like its key, right? Its key signature. So in other words, right, and you take a look at all of this. I only have one flat here. So in other words, this must be B flat, right? The first flat is B flat. So if, think about it, so which clef would give this as B? Okay, I know most of us are familiar with treble and bass clef, so we'll start off with this. If this is treble clef, it will be G, so out. If this is bass clef, this is B. So very likely this is bass clef. So before I confirm this is the bass clef answer, right? So I know it has B flat, C sharp, and D. So in other words, it starts with D, end with D if it's a bass clef, right? Okay. Now, so let's check D minor, okay? D minor. So D minor and F major have the same key signature, and F major only has B flat. So therefore, yes, it's correct. B flat. All right. Okay, next, let's move on to this key here. So we start and end off with the same sharp, right? Okay, so we sharp. So you only learn a few minors that has a sharp. So if you start and end off with a sharp, it tells you that it's a something sharp minor. Something sharp minor, okay? So what sharp minor? So for your syllabus, you notice that, right? The first minor is F sharp minor. You learn F sharp minor, C sharp minor. So F sharp minor has 3 sharps, right? C sharp minor has 4 sharps. G sharp minor has 5 sharps. Okay, and if you have D sharp minor, it will have 6 sharps, right? Okay, so basically we only need to check whether it is F, C, G, or D sharp minor, right? So maybe I will try, I know that if this is treble clef, this will be D, okay? If it is bass clef, it will be F sharp, okay? So if it is treble clef, it is D sharp. If it is bass clef, it will be F sharp. If it's auto clef, this will be, maybe I count you here. So it's C, D, E. There's no E sharp minor in your syllabus, so this is out. Okay, and this one is C sharp minor if it is tenor clef. Okay, so now let's try. D sharp minor has 6 sharps. So you have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp, right? Okay. Okay, so let's check. You have D sharp, already have. So F sharp, no F sharp, right? No F, and it's not the 6th, it's not the 7th note. Okay, so it's out. Next, let's try F sharp minor. So if this is F sharp minor, I have 3 sharps. So it's F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. F sharp, good. C sharp, yes. G sharp, okay. Then you notice there are 2 sharps here, right? So it's D sharp and E sharp. So it could be melodic because it's ascending. So you could sharpen the 6th and the 7th note. So very likely this is correct. All right. Okay, but before we confirm that this is correct, let's check whether this is correct. I have C sharp minor, right? So if it is tenor clef, this will be C sharp. Okay, so this is C sharp. This one with D sharp, E, F, then G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp, right? This is tenor clef. So now let's take a look at C sharp minor. It will have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. But if you look at this, F already no sharp. So it's out already. So the answer for this is bass clef. Right? Okay. Now let's take a look at this one here. Okay. So there are flats here. Okay. No sharp. It could be melodic, it could be harmonic. Okay, because we can maybe it was initially a flat, so it becomes a natural. Okay, but so let's take a look at this. Okay, so we have this key here. So it has flat, right? So we'll look at the keys with flat, the minor keys with flat. So if you look at this, this is a treble clef. If this is treble clef, this one would be G, right? So for G minor, it has B flat and E flat, right? So if it's treble clef, B flat and E flat. Okay, then nothing here, right? So this is descending. So if you have a melodic minor and it's descending, you just follow the key signature, right? So likely it could be G minor because G minor, B flat, and E flat. Okay, but before we say that it is the correct answer. Let's check to make sure that all the three are wrong. So now, this is bass clef, right? So bass clef, this one will be B. So if you have a flat, the first flat is B flat already, and there's no flat, right? So it's out. Okay, because the first flat is B flat. So if you have a B and the other notes have B has flat, how can this note not have a flat? Okay, so therefore, bass clef is out. It cannot be B minor if you have the rest having F flat, because you must have B flat first. Now, if this is auto clef, this is C, D, E, F, G, A. So this is A, right? So A minor, you learn A minor has the same key signature as C major. So C major, no key signature, no sharp, no flat. Okay, if you want a harmonic scale, you sharpen the 7th note, which is G sharp. But now you see flat, so it's out. Can't be A. If it's standard clef, C, D, E, F, so it's F minor, right? F minor. So F minor, you have B flat, E flat, and A flat, right? Okay. So let's look at this. F, E, okay, maybe it's harmonic, so you sharpen the 7th note, it becomes natural. D won't have a flat for F minor, so it's out. Okay, so therefore it is the treble clef. Next, 3.6, we look at whether it is the correctly written chromatic scale. Okay, so first we look at this. This is the correctly written chromatic scale beginning on C. Okay, so what I'll do first is I'll check, is this C? Yes, this is C. And does it end with C? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Yes, this is also C. Next, I check. Okay, it goes through all the notes and each note, okay, without accidental. So I'll just ignore the accidentals, that means the sharps and the flats first. Okay, and I'll check whether, right, all the notes have been used and they use it the correct number of times. So if you see one note being used 3 times, it is wrong already. So C, okay, then D, then E, then F, G, A, B, C. Okay, yes, all the notes are being used. Okay, from this C to this C, you go through all the notes. Okay, and I don't see any notes being used more than 2 times. So next, I'm going to draw out my piano. Okay, because I know that I start with C, I end with C, I'll draw to here. C, then C sharp. Okay, good. D, good. D sharp, yes. E, F, F sharp. G, G sharp. A, this A sharp. B, C. Yes, if goes through each note, right? It goes through every single note, including the black one. So this is a correctly written chromatic scale. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. This is a correctly written chromatic scale beginning on E flat. So start with E flat, end with E flat, so correct. Next, I check the notes. I will first not look at the accidental. So it's E, then D, then C, B, A, G, F, E. Okay, so all the notes are being used and I don't see any notes being used more than 2 times, so it's okay. So now I'm going to check each note. So okay, so I start off with E flat, right? So here's E flat, then D flat, then C. C flat is here. And I have C flat and B are the same. So I'm playing this note twice. So this is not correct. So it is false. Okay. Okay, next let's take a look at 3.7. So 3.7, right, you're asked technical names of the note. So you need to be familiar with what's tonic, what's supertonic, what's median, and so on. Alright? Okay, so now let's take a look at this. So this is the leading note of B major. So B major, leading note is the 7th, right? So B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, E is 4th, F is 5, G is 6, A is 7, so it's A. Then B major, it has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. So A should be a sharp, so it's true. Okay, next, subdominant. Subdominant is the 4th. Okay, so this is the subdominant in A minor. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4th. So I should have D. Okay, and A minor don't have any sharp, any flat for the key signature. The 7th note should be sharpened. So you have G sharp, but this is not the leading note, so never mind. So now, this is D, so it should be D, but this is F, so it's not correct. So false. Okay, remember this is bass clef, so this is F, it's not D. Next, submedian. This is the submedian in F sharp minor. Submedian means 6. So I have F sharp as 1, G, 2, A, 3. Okay, then the 4th note is B, 5th note is C, 6th note is D. Okay, D. Next, I need to check F sharp minor. So F sharp minor has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So D won't have a sharp. So yes, it is true. So D is just D. So, and this note here is D. So therefore, it is true. So this note is the submedian note in F sharp minor. Okay, next, let's go on to intervals. So the first one, you are asked the intervals. Okay, so whenever you are doing interval, right, first find out what is the number, then you look at the type. Okay, so you have B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, right? So B, C, D, E is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 11th, right? So 11 minus 7 equals to 4. So it's either 11th or compound something 4th. Okay, so 10th is out. So we only have 3 of them to look at. Okay, next, I know this is B and this is E. Okay, so B to E. So in B major, you have E, right? So it is perfect. So it is compound perfect 4th. All right. Next, let's take a look at the next one. Okay. You have this G to D fret. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5th, right? So those that are 4th, you cancel it. So it's either perfect or diminished. So G major, you have D, right? Not D flat. So let's draw out the piano. So for G major, you have D, and that will give you a perfect interval. But now, instead of having D, you have D flat. So you make it 1 semitone nearer. So instead of being perfect, now you become diminished. So it is diminished 5th. Okay. Next, let's take a look at this note here. This is A, this is F. Okay, F. And this is G. Okay, so this is F, this is G. So from F to G, so it's we can count this here. F, G is second, right? Okay, F to G is second, but now you know that it is another octave higher, so it's 2 plus 7, which is 9. Okay, okay. So now let's take a look at this. Okay, so it is either second or 9, so anything that is 10th is out. Okay, so it's not second. It must have a compound second or something 9th. Okay, so it's either the first answer or the third. So is it minor or is it major? Okay, so in the first two examples, right, I talked about looking at it in terms of major keys. So in this example, right, I will teach you in terms of the semitones. So in my course on how to score for your ABRSM online music theory exam, I cover both methods of finding the type of intervals. You look at both the major keys, and so you find the intervals based on the major key, or you can count the number of semitones. So for this one, I'll show you how to do it by counting by this number of semitones. Okay, so F to G. Okay, so you have F here. So let me draw out my this. So for this type of questions, right, you know that this G is more than 1 octave from this F. So you just bring it down 1 octave. So you know that your F is now right beside your G. Okay, and so this is a second. Okay, so how many semitones are there? There are 2. It is 2 semitones apart. So if you have a second, okay, if you have 1 semitone, I write ST as semitones, then it is minor. If it's 2 semitones, it will be major. And if 3 semitones, it will be augmented. Okay? Then you might be wondering, what happens if there is no semitones apart, then it's the same note, right? Okay, then it's diminished if it's the same note, but that's another thing. Okay, so now coming back to here, this is F to G. So what you need to do is, if they are more than one octave apart, you bring this G down. So you know that this F is right beside this G. Okay, so now next we'll count what is the number of semitones between this F and this G. It is two semitones apart. Okay, so if it's two semitones apart, you use your semitone chart to determine what is the type of interval. So for a second, if it's one semitone, it's a minor. If it's two semitones, it's a major. If it's three semitones, it's augmented. So because it is two semitones apart, so therefore it is major. So it's major ninth. Okay, so in my course, I teach both methods. Okay, because some students prefer not to count because they usually make careless mistake when they count number of semitones. Then they will make use of the major as a reference, major key as a reference. But for others, they might prefer counting the number of semitones. Then they will use the semitone chart. Okay, so both methods are correct. So it's up to you to choose which one you prefer. Okay, so now let's move on to question 4.2. Now let's move on to question 4.2. Okay, so now for this, you are asked to circle the type of each interval, so whether it's perfect, major, minor, diminished, or augmented. But for this type of questions, right, before you even circle the type of interval, you still need to find what is the number in between. Okay, so let's do it first. So this is D and this is F. So D, E, F is the third, but you know that a third is from it is this F, but this F is one octave higher, right? So 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay, it's compound third or 10. So if you have 10 or a third, that means you will not have perfect. So it's either major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So now D to F, right? So let me draw out. So from D to F, this is what we have. If I have a major, D major will have F sharp, right? But now it is here, one semitone closer. So if it is D to F sharp, it is major. One semitone closer, it will be minor. So the interval here would be a minor interval. Okay, next, this is B flat because of the key signature, and this is G. Okay, so B flat, C, D, E, F, G is a 6 apart. So same, if it's a 6, you do not have perfect. Okay, now B flat major, does it have G? Yes, it has G, right? So this is major. Next, let's look at this, F sharp to E flat. Okay, so F sharp to E flat. So let's first count F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So it's 7th, right? If you have a 7th, perfect is out because perfect is only for 4th, 5th, and the compound 4th and compound 5th, or 11th and 12th. Okay? Now coming back to this, so I know that it's a 7th and I have F to E flat. So let's use F major as a reference. So F major has E, right? Okay, so now I move F sharp here. So it's one semitone closer. So it becomes minor. Major is F to E. So now F sharp to E is minor. Okay, but it's not F sharp to E, right? It's F sharp to E flat. Now, again, I move closer again. So another step closer, it becomes diminished. So the interval here is diminished. Okay, so for this questions, right, I use the major key as a reference to find the interval type. Okay, but you can also use the semitone chart, okay, to find the interval. Okay. Okay, next, let's go on to 4.3. So in 4.3, you are asked what is compound perfect fifth. Okay, so now let's take a look at compound perfect fifth. So let's first see there's a compound and it's a fifth. So let's first count a fifth. C, D, E, F, G. So this G here will be a fifth, but because it's compound, it is one octave higher. So it will be this G here. Okay, then let's make our life easy. So we know that in C major, there is G. No sharp, no flat. But now if I have C sharp, Okay, if I move closer, then this one must move further so that the distance remains the same. So in other words, I need G sharp to have a perfect fifth. Okay, so this is compound perfect fifth with a G sharp. Next, let's move on to B. I have a minor seventh. So B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So A will be the seventh. Okay, so now let me draw out the piano again. So I have B flat to A. So from B flat major, it's only have B flat and E flat, right? So A is just A. So from B flat to A, it will give me major 7. But if I want minor 7, I need one semitone closer. So I'll move A closer, so it becomes A flat. So B flat and A flat will give me a minor 7th. Okay. Next, let's move on to augmented 12. So augmented 12 is the same as compound augmented fifth. Okay. So because you take 12 minus 7, you get 5. So it's compound augmented fifth. So let's look at this. This is C. So G is the fifth, but because it's compound, so it's one octave higher. So it's this G here. Okay. So next I have C. C is here. And let's go to G. So C major has G. So this will be perfect fifth. But if I want augmented, I need to make it further away. So I put a sharp on my G. Okay, so therefore C to this G sharp here will give us augmented 12. Last one for section 4.3 of intervals, we have G. Okay, and I want a minor third. So G to B will give me a third apart, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at this. Maybe I draw another piano. Okay, so now I have G to B. So I know G major has just B, right? So G to B will be major third. So if I want a minor, I need to be one semitone closer together. But I cannot change G, I can only change B. So to move it closer, it will be B flat. So G to B flat will give me a minor third. Okay, next let's move on to section 5 of the ABRSM grade 5 practice paper. So this section is on chords. So you are taught chords 1, 2, 4, and 5. So here in 5.1, you are asked to indicate suitable chords for the two cadences in the following melody by writing either 1, 2, 4, or 5 in each of the 5 boxes underneath the staffs. Okay, so we look at this. So before we can write the chord, right, we must first determine what is the key. So let's take a look at this. This is F sharp. So F sharp for key signature means it is G major or E minor, right? So E minor, you should have D sharp, but I don't see any D sharp around. So very likely this is G major. So once I determine that it's G major, I'll start writing out the chord 1, 2, 4, and 5. So 1 is G, B, D, 2 is A, C, E, 4 is C, E, G, and 5 is D, F sharp, A. Okay, so let's look at this. This is A, E, D, C. A, E, D, C. Okay, so D is likely just a passing note, so this is chord 2. Then you have D and F here. So which one has D and F? And F sharp, of course. So it's chord 5. This one you have B, B, G, D. B, B, G, D. So it's chord 1. This one is C, E, D, C, G. C, E, D, C, G, C, E, D, C, G. So very likely it's chord 4 because, okay, D is a passing note. B, D, G, B, D, G. So this chord 1. Okay, so that is how you do this question here. So I recommend writing out the first indicating or first finding out what key it is. Then you write out the chords 1, 2, 4, and 5. Then from there, well, just look at what notes you have and you can determine what is the key. Okay. Next, let's move on to 5.2. So they ask you to name each cadence, either imperfect, plagal, or perfect. Okay. So for this type of questions, right, what I'll suggest is first look at the last one. Okay, so if the last chord, right, it's chord 1. Okay, if the last chord is chord 1, then you only need to check whether it's perfect or plagal. But once it's chord 5, straight away it's imperfect. Okay, because imperfect is anything ending with 5. Plagal is 4-1 and perfect is 5-1. Okay, so once you check the last note, okay, is 5, you don't need to check anything. It's straight away imperfect. Okay, so for this, right, instead of writing 1, 2, 4, 5, I'll suggest you just need to write 1, 4, and 5. Okay, the rest doesn't matter. So this is D major, so the chord 1 is D, F sharp, A. Chord 4 is G, B, D, and chord 5 is A, C, E. A, C sharp, E. Okay, so now let's take a look at the last chord here. This is D, A, F sharp, D. So it's chord 1, right? This is chord 1. So I need to check this. This is A, C, E. A, C, E is chord 5. So this is 5-1, so it's perfect. Next, let's check F major. So I'll use 1, 4, and 5. So chord 1 is F, A, C. Chord 4 is B flat, D, F. And chord 5 is C, E, G. So let's look at the last chord here. So it's F, A, F, C. So this is chord 1. So in other words, I need to check this one also. So I have B flat, D, and F. B flat, D, and F. So this is 4. So 4-1 is plagal. So the answer is plagal. Okay, so in 5.3, you are asked to name these chords here. Okay, and you are told that this is C minor. So what I'll do is I'll put 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so chord 1 is C, E, G. You can ignore the accidentals because everything is C minor already, right? Whether you put the E flat or not, you know C, G lah. Okay, then the next one is D, F, A. Chord 4 is G, B, D. Okay, and chord 4 is F, A, C. F, A, C, and chord 4 is F, A, C, and chord 5 is G, B, D. Okay, with all the flats, okay, of course. Okay, but just ignore that. So now let's take a look at A. So A, it is G, E, G, C. G, E, G, C. So it's chord 1, right? So now I know that it's chord 1. So next, I look at the lowest note. The lowest note is G. So here is A, here is B, it is C. Okay, so anything, if the lowest note is these notes here, it will be A, root position. Lowest note is anything here, it will be B, first inversion. Lowest note is here, it will be C or second inversion. So the lowest note here is G. So it is 1C. Okay, so next, let's move on to chord B. Okay, so for chord B, let's take a look. What notes do we have? We have A, C, F, C. A, C, F, C. So it's chord 4. A, C, F, C. Chord 4, right? Chord 4. So now I know that it's chord 4. Let's look at the lowest note. It is, this note here is A. So it is B. So it's 4B. Next, let's look at chord C. So you have G, B, D, G. G, B, D, G. So it's chord 5. And the lowest note is G. So it is 5A. Okay, so that is how you do question or section 5.3. All right, next let's move on to section 6. Okay, so for section 6.1, it's terms and signs. Is basically memorizing. So morendo means dying away. Okay, then next largamente means broadly, and mesto means sad. Okay. Next, 6.2 are ornaments. So you are given 2 written out ornaments and you need to determine which ornament it is. So when you have alternating notes, D, E, D, E, D, E, D, E, C, D, it will be a trill. Okay. Next, you have this A, G, F sharp, G for this ornament. Okay. So 4 notes, right? A, G, F sharp, G is definitely a turn. Okay. And because the first note is higher than the third note of the turn, so therefore it is an upper turn. Okay, next let's take a look at 6.3. Okay, so 6.3 tests us on the instruments. Okay, a flute usually plays a higher pitch than a bassoon, definitely true. A bassoon is quite a low instrument. Okay, a trumpet is a woodwind instrument. False trumpet is a brass instrument. Cymbals produce sound of a definite pitch. No, it just go clang, clang, clang. So it is indefinite pitch. A horn uses a double reed. No, horns do not use reeds. Okay, so it is false. Okay. A mezzo-soprano has a lower range than a soprano voice. True, mezzo means less. Okay. Next, we have music in context. So you are asked to study this piece of music, then answer the question. Okay. So let's take a look at this and question 7.1. So 7.1 is very similar to your one of your pitch question in section 2. Okay, so where you're asked to compare 3 pitches and which one is the true and false. So it's very similar to section 2.4. Okay, 7.1 and 2.4, the way you do it is very similar. Usually we compare it with the C's. Okay, so let's do it this way as well. So in 7.1, you're asked to compare the following bars A, B, and C with the right hand part of bar 2. Okay, so now what to do this? I will first write out middle C. This is C4, this is C5, and this is C6. Okay, so I just want to compare this note here. Okay, so just compare the first note. That'll be easier. Okay, so I know that for this first note, right, it is in between C4, C5, and C6. So it's between C5 and C6. So this is my bar 2. Okay, next I have this note here, autoclass. So this is my C4. Okay, and this is my C5. So it's in between C4 and C5 for A. For B, this is my middle C. This is my lower C. So this is my C4. This is 1 octave lower, C3. So I know that this note here, this B note here, is in between C3 and C4. So this is B. Bar B is here. Okay, for bar C, this is middle C, and this is 1 octave lower. This is C4, this is C3. Okay, and C, this for bar C, this note here is in between C4 and C3. Okay, so once I've written this out, it's very easy to see. I know that bar 2 is 1 octave higher than A, 2 octaves higher than B and C. Okay, A is 1 octave higher than B and C same pitch. Okay, so now let's compare these 3, A, B, and C with bar 2. So A is correctly written 1 octave lower. Yes, it's true. Okay, only one statement is correct, so you can stop here, or you can also check the other statements. Okay, so they say that A and B is correctly written 1 octave lower. Okay, so not true, right? It is 2 octave lower. This A is 1 octave lower, B and C are 2 octave lower, so it's wrong. A, B, and C are correctly written 1 octave lower. No, only A is 1 octave lower. B and C are 2 octaves lower. A and B are correctly written 1 octave lower. No, it's only A that's written correctly 1 octave lower. Alright, so the answer is this one. Next, let's move on. Okay, they say circle true and false for each of the 5 statements about the melody. So we need to go back to the context of the music. Okay, and check. So they say A, the beginning of the music should be played lightly. So when you see this, we need to look for some terms and signs that tells us whether it's played lightly. And we see this word here, leggero. So, and what does leggero means? It means to play it lightly, right? So it is true. Okay. Next, the music ends on the subdominant chord of F sharp minor. So F sharp minor has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp for the key signature. Subdominant chord, so is the 4th chord. So is it B, D, F sharp. So let's see whether the music ends with B, D, and F sharp. This is C sharp. This is E sharp, G sharp, and C sharp again. So no, it's not. So it is false, right? Because we do not have B, D, and F sharp. Okay? False. Okay, next, let's take a look at the third one. The largest melodic interval in the left-hand part of bar 7 is a major 7. So we only need to look at bar 7, left hand. So bar 7 left hand is here. So this is a second, this is a second, this is a third. So this is a third. It's bigger than any second. F to E is a second again, second. Then this one is a third again. And this is a third again. Okay, so let's look at F sharp to A. Okay, so F to A is major, F sharp to A is minor. So this is a minor third. Okay, so how about D to F sharp? Okay, D to F sharp is a major third, right? Because D major has F sharp. So D to F sharp is a major third. Then B to D. So B major has D sharp. So now if you have D, it is one semitone nearer. So when it's nearer, it becomes minor. So it's minor. So major is bigger than minor. So the biggest interval for the left hand part of bar 7 is a major third. So it is true. The highest note in the music is C sharp. So if you want to look highest, it should go as high as possible, okay, on the music step. So and we'll check the treble clef, okay. So here the highest note is C sharp, okay, because of the key signature C sharp. This is B. C sharp is still the highest. Then we go on to here. We notice the highest note here is D. It is even higher than this C sharp here. Okay, then let's check anything higher than this D. No. So the highest note here is D and it is not C sharp. So it is false. Next, the music gets quieter in bar 7. So if it's something gets quieter, we should have a diminuendo sign or the sign here. But we have a crest motto. So crest means gradually getting louder, right? So no, it's not getting softer, it's getting louder. So it is false. Okay, so that's how you do 7.2 of the music in context question. Next, let's look at this. Which instrument is best suited to play the right hand part in bar 3 and 4 so that they sound at the same pitch? Okay, so we know that it is the right hand part. Okay. Okay, so let's look at right hand part of bar 3 and 4. So it's the right hand here. So it's rather high, right? So let's take a look at what clef does a bassoon use. A bassoon uses bass clef, so it's out. Oboe uses treble clef. Trombone uses your tenor clef. It can also use your bass clef. And double bass uses a bass clef. So the only possible one would be your oboe for 7.3. Next, how many times does the median note in the key of F sharp minor appear in the left hand part? So left hand part and median note of F sharp minor. So F sharp minor has F sharp, C sharp and G sharp. Median means third note, so it's A. So we need to check how many times does the A note appears on the left hand part. Okay, so let's look for A. So I see A here, 1 A, 2 A's, 3 A's, 4 A's, 5 A's, 6 A's, 6. So it appears 6 times. So the answer should be 6 for 7.4. Okay. Next, let's look at this. Complete the following 2 sentences by adding a number each. So bar 3 has the same rhythm and articulation as which bar? So let's look at bar 3. So this is how it looks like. So same rhythm and articulation. So it has slur, staccato, slur again. So it's the same as bar 3. So 2 and 3 have the same rhythm and articulation. Okay, next, there's a diminuendo in which bar? So diminuendo means getting softer or the sign here. So I see it in bar 5. So there's a diminuendo in bar 5. Okay, so that is how you do the grade 5 ABRSM paper. So if you are interested in the step by step how to approach each question, right, do check out our course, link in description below.